Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Nakwam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, our honor and glory to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach, Wamalak Abashai. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Mashiach, Wamalak Abashai. A hearty, mighty Shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there in the highways and byways pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there in the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying. They're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Akwat out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, reverencing their husbands and those who may not be married or those who tend upon the Lord without distraction. Shalom to the ancient men, the children, and the elect of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And last but not least, shalom to everybody tuning in live, Don Israel, Kapashka, WFI, Europe in the building, Yakelia, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, Salakia, Lim of Israel, Kayla 7, Renee A, Quadan, Yazian, David, Yehuda, Yisrael, and everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. This is the end of the world. Everybody knows we're in the end of the world. If you don't know we're in the end of the world, you're finding out right now. You're finding out that these are the days that Yahweh Bashmi Bashai has spoken of from the foundation of the world. You're watching the earthquake that just happened in California, where the Most High said that there will be earthquakes in diverse places, right? You're watching the civil war and the wars go on in Syria, right? Out there in the so-called Middle East, where the valley of Jehoshaphat and where you're going to have the battle of Armageddon. You're watching that unfold. You're watching the chariot sightings. You're watching UFOs be the #1 trending topic on Twitter for the last few days, man. You're watching many things unfold, martial law in South Korea. You're watching the end of the world. You're watching entire societies collapse. You're watching governments be overthrown, right? You're watching all flesh be corrupted as it was during the days of Noah, right? This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 12 and 21. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged and every vision faileth? Because in time past, when the prophet spoke of events that will happen, a lot of our forefathers, they chalked it up to, well, it's not going to happen in my time. I thought the Lord said that this was going to happen. It hasn't happened yet. And you have people who still have that same type of talk today. Oh, y'all keep talking about the end of the world. I still got a job. I'm still getting money. You know, I'm still doing me. I'm still living large. So people, although you tell them that destruction draws nigh, martial law, all hell is going to break loose, the chariots are coming, the ICBM missiles, they say, man, I ain't coming till I'm dead. Maybe my grandchildren's generation. So they say the days are prolonged and every vision faileth. Verse 23 in Ezekiel 12. Tell them, therefore, thus saith the Lord God, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel. But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. So the days are at hand, man. You're no longer going to be able to say, well, my grandmother, my grandfather have said that all hell is going to break loose. They spoke about the second coming and the end of the world. We've been hearing that for the last God knows how many years. The Lord said he's about to shut all that proud speech down, and you're going to live in the days that he spoke of. He said the days are at hand and the effect of every vision. So the visions that Isaiah had, the visions that Jeremiah had, Ezekiel had, Daniel had, Zechariah had, John the Revelator, Ezra, all of these visions by our forefathers, these are the days that they're going to begin to come to pass. And the effect of every vision. And Yahweh prophesied as well of these things that you see taking place on the earth. These are the effects of every vision. Verse 24, for there shall be no more any vain vision, nor flattering divination within the house of Israel. For I am Yahweh, Bashmi Shai, I will speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall no more be prolonged, for in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word and will perform it, saith Yahweh. So you're living in these days where you're no longer going to be able to have an excuse. You're no longer going to be able to say, well, nobody told me. And you're not going to be able to put off the evil day. I can tell you the book of Amos real quick, and I want to get into some of these questions and dive into this some of these current events, right? But this is the book of Amos, chapter 6 and verse 3. Ye that put far away the evil day and cause the seat of violence to come near. Because you're putting away the end of the world. What does that mean? You put it far away. You're shunning it. You're acting as if it's not going to happen. You're going to your job and you're thinking your job is going to continue 20 years. You're saving up for the next 80 years to 100 years. You know, you have this investment in this stock and this digital currency and this Bitcoin, and you're hoping that you're going to get some type of return on your investment, man, in the next generation. And you're saying that, well, I don't want to hear about the missiles. I don't want to hear about destruction. Now, there's even certain, unfortunately, there's even certain brothers and sisters in the truth that despise when we talk about the end of the world. They want us to talk about the festivities and the follies of this society. But when we begin to talk about the end of the world, they get uncomfortable. If we get on a so-called black woman, if we get on a so-called white man, if it's entertainment or whatever, that somebody wig fall off and you're shaking their hand, then it's all fun and games. But when it's time to tell them that, hey, if you don't change, you're going to die, and we start speaking about the things that they love are going to be taken away from them, then people, even in Israel, they begin to get a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit tense and uneasy. Because they know that evil day is coming, but they don't want to hear about it. They put it far away, and cause the seat of violence to come near. So we cannot put away the evil day. These are the days of destruction, and these are the days at hand, right? Real quick, let's get one more, and we'll dive into. We may touch on these Q&A first. We may go into some of these current events first, right? We'll see, according to the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, right? This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 17. And it happened that when I had heard it, I stood up upon my feet and hearkened. Make sure this is showing. And hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spake, and the sound of it was like the sound of many waters, right? And it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth, right? So these are these days. Now, remember, Ezra, like we always go into, he was on the scene during the time of Artaxerxes, the Persian Empire, if you can understand. 2,500 or so odd years ago, roughly. 457 BC, to be exact, when he went back to Jerusalem to teach the law. Now, during that time, the Lord said, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh. So from 2,500 years ago, when he said he's going to draw nigh, that's this time now. And he's visiting the earth right now. How is he visiting the earth? By putting spirits on governments to be overthrown. What do you think is going on in Syria? Who's responsible? Who's responsible for what's going on? Is it the citizens? Is it the wicked political regime? It's the Most High. It's Yahweh. All things that are being done on the earth are being orchestrated and controlled and have been set up by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. He has set these matters up, huh? And he's visiting them that dwell on the earth. Then the Lord say in Acts, the 17th chapter, that he has ordained the times appointed. Let me get that real quick in Acts 17 and 26. And hath made of one blood all nations of men, for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation. So we know what this means. He made all men of one blood. Everybody on the earth to come out of Adam. Then you come out of Noah and his 3 sons. And hath determined the times before appointed. So he has predestined the times that nations will be in power. How long they would be in power. The average age of an empire is around 250 years. The Lord determined how long the Greeks would be in power before they fell to the Roman Republic. He determined how long the Persians would be in power before they fell to the Greeks. He determined how long the Babylonians would be in power before they fell to the Persians at the Battle of Apis in 539 BC. Everything's measured to a T with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Not only the times before appointed, meaning how long they're going to rule, but also where they're going to dwell at and where that tension and that civil unrest is going to happen, which are the bounds of their habitation. He has set these matters up from the foundation of the world. So what you see going on in Syria, Yahweh's doing that. Ba'ashem Yahushua. What you see going on in, I believe that's, let me pull this up. Where is this at? In Sydney, where the water's being turned blood red, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is doing that, man. He's the one turning the water blood red. And this isn't the first time. Look at this. You see that? Water near Sydney Harbor turned blood red, and yet another sign the end of the world is not. Now, I guarantee who published this article? Lachlan Hodson. I guarantee Lachlan Hodson is not in the truth. I guarantee they don't know what tribe they're from, what their nationality is, and I guarantee they're not a prophet, apostle, or minister of the Almighty Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua. But why are they saying that the water being turned red, blood red, is yet another sign the end of the world is not? Who put it in their spirit to talk about the end of the world? The Most High. He's putting the spirit of the end, destruction. It's over. He keeps pushing that spirit on the earth, man. And the Lord said in Amos, the 3rd chapter, verse 6, shall there be evil in the city, right? Let me get that real quick. And the Lord hath not done it. Amos 3 and 6. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua have not done it? So there's evil in Syria, the evil in Ukraine, the evil that draws nigh in America, the evil that's taking place through natural disasters and people's houses getting flooded and uprooted, man. The Most High is doing that. Right? He's the one turning the water blood red. And he's been doing, the Most High's been doing this for thousands of years, man. You know? Blood red is a sign of war and destruction. Now we're going to read a little of this real quick. Now you got this. What Esau does is Esau does the damage control. They'll send their scientists out and they'll say, well, it's the algae. It's the red algae. And it's around this time of the year the algae come, or, you know, it's the sharks were fighting and the blood turned red. And the water turned red. And Esau always has damage control to explain the unexplainable. And the thing about the average Negro is he buys it. He eats up the words of Esau more than he eats up the bread and wine and knowledge of the Almighty God. Now, the Most High said that you would have these signs, right? Now, we're going to read a little of this article, but let's go to Luke chapter 21, right? Let's read this in Luke chapter 21 about what Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua said will happen in these days. Right? This is the book of Luke, chapter 21. And we'll read, I'm going to jump to 29. But I want to read verse number, I want to get the context. Luke chapter 21 and verse number 5. And as some spake of the temple, how it was adorned with goodly stones and gifts, he said, as for these things which ye behold, the days will come, in the which there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Now, again, the temple was destroyed, but Yahushua, he's speaking beyond the temple. And he, on another level, he's talking about the stones and the buildings that you encounter and see on a day-to-day basis. Your banks, your grocery stores, your airports, your bus stations, your terminals, your skyscrapers. All of these buildings are going to be thrown down by Yahweh Ba'ashmiah when he returns, right? The Lord said, they shall build, but I will throw down. In the book of Malachi, the first chapter, verse 7. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? So if you're watching for the signs that the Most High said would happen prior to him sending his son to deliver the Israelites. And there would be signs that you would begin to observe and say, hey, I know where I've seen this at. The Lord said that this will happen. Yeah, in Syria, the water being turned blood, the chariot sightings, this happened. I remember where I heard that. Yahweh said that. Jeremiah said that. Our forefathers said that. John the Revelator said that. Ezra said that. Daniel said that. He said that these things will happen, and now they're happening, right? Now, this is verse number 25. It reads, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon, right? You'll have eclipses, blood moons, and in the stars, comets and things of that nature. And upon the earth, distress of nations. What are distress of nations? Famines, war, civil war, internal unrest, instability, corruption. With perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Men's hearts failing them for fear. And looking after, for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And men's hearts, meaning their minds, are failing them. They can't believe a lot of the things that they're seeing. Some people, they're not going to be able to accept reality, man. They're going to chalk it up to coincidence. You know, the Lord is going to harden their heart like he did Pharaoh. And sign after sign, water being turned to blood, frogs, flies, lice, locusts, boils, plagues on the livestock, etc. Sign after sign, the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart. You know, and the Most High is doing that to the society where they're oblivious, completely oblivious to the Most High's judgment. He's doing it to 2/3 of Israel. He's doing it to these other nations. They are completely out of tune with the spirit of judgment that the Most High is putting on the earth. You know? And there was a precept in mind, but Lord willing, it comes back. Now I'm going to read a little of this article. Again, water near Sydney Harbor turned blood red, and yet another sign, the end of the world is nigh. Right? It reads, people strolling past the Sydney Harbor, water at a cove near Cabrali, were given a fright on Monday morning when the ocean's blue tones had turned to a much more sinister blood red. See, that men's heart failing them for fear. They were given that fright. They were affrighted. So this is a fulfillment of Luke, the 21st chapter. Even spookier is the fact that experts are still investigating why the color changed. Well, ain't nothing to investigate. Esau sent his damn experts out. Now, a lot of people are actually looking this stuff up in the scriptures. They're actually looking this stuff up in the scriptures, man. Now, I'm going to go back to this, but actually, if you've been watching, Bible sales are actually going up. Right? Let's pull this up. Look at this. Bible sales surge thanks to fresh editors. Right? Bible sales are skyrocketing. Data shows Bible sales are blooming in 2024. Why are people buying so many Bibles? Well, people are buying Bibles because some people understand deep down in their spirit that there is power above the power that they thought that they had. And that power is coming from the Most High. So they're beginning to look into this stuff, man. I know I heard the Israelites, and this is more than likely because of the children of Israel. You brothers out there in the highways and byways, you may be responsible for this increase in Bibles, the Bible booming age. And everybody's grabbing Bibles, and I know I saw that the water being turned into blood. What do? And they're opening their Bible and they're fumbling the pages and what's going on? Everybody's trying to gather that oil, man. They're not going to be able to gather the oil, right? They're not going to be able to gather it, right? So I'm going to go back to this. But again, people, they're trying to figure out what happened. So Esau is sending the experts out. Whoever these experts are, they're sending them out, right? So let's jump down. Read a little of this. It was bright morning in the North Sydney suburb of Milson Park. And while all seemed normal with the world, locals suddenly discovered that one thing was anything but normal. The water at Careening Cove, a bay that flows into the Sydney harbor, had bafflingly turned red. No, this isn't metaphoric language or doomsday fear-mongering. It had literally turned red. Right, Salakia, bear with me. All right, let's go back to this. It literally turned red. It reads, and you can see it in the pic right here, right? You can see it straight up. Now it reads, council is aware of the red water flowing into the harbor, and they're investigating, but they can't find the source. Well, you're not going to be able to find it, man. Right? Now, here's what they said. While the council was not immediately certain of the cause of the red water, it did provide one explanation: plumbers died. So they say plumbers died, spilled into the water, and turned all of the water red. Right? So they're winging it. They're winging it. Right? They're winging it. It reads, the cause of this water is likely plumbers died, which is alarming in appearance, is safe and non-toxic. Right? So the Most High, he's putting things up there turning blood red. Now, regardless how it happened, blood red is a sign of judgment. It is a sign of judgment, and the Most High controls these matters. Right? Another thing going on in the earth. Let's pull this up. Brother's been watching. I do want to get into this Q&A, but I want to touch on this. South Korea declared martial law. Now, I believe they lifted it, right? I believe they lifted the martial law decree. I have to go back and look. But martial law, full-blown military takeover, was actually declared in South Korea, right? It was actually declared in South Korea. You know, and I saw one of these videos that this Moabite woman damn wrestling a soldier with a gun, man. Trying to pull his gun away from him. Now, surprisingly, she didn't get shot in the chest. Now, these Moabites were losing their damn mind. The Moabite man is losing his damn mind out there in South Korea. Right? So you have martial law going on in South Korea. Now, this is a foreshadowing of what's to come to America. Right? What you saw in South Korea is a very, very small figure of what's coming to Babylon the Great. Because a lot of these nations, they're going to begin to overthrow their governments. Right? They're going to fulfill 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter. Right? Where the Lord said, let's get this in 2nd Esdras 15. They're going to fulfill these prophecies, man. Right? They're going to fulfill these prophecies. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 15 and verse number 16. Right? It reads, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And sedition is what? Sedition is speech or any action inciting people to rebel against an authority or a government. That is sedition. So right now in South Korea, Syria, other parts of the earth, you have a very high level of sedition. And they're invading one another. They're taking over government buildings. They're taking over where the prime minister and the president live, right? You have all hell breaking loose. Now, not too long ago, they took over, I believe that was in Bangladesh. They actually made the leader of that country flee on a plane. And they don't care if you're the king. They don't care if you are a governor. They don't care if you have money. It says they should not regard their kings. They're fed up, huh? There's only so much they're going to be able to take. Only so much political corruption, taxes, oppression, uncomfortable living. There's only so much people are going to take before they begin to riot. They should not regard their kings, nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So you had South Korea that declared martial law, right? That declared martial law. And again, this is a foreshadowing of what's to come to America. Babylon the Great. Now, if I'm not mistaken, let's pull this up. South Korea government, right? Let's pull this up. I believe they are a, let's see, democracy. Yep, see that? The country's constitution adopts liberal democracy as a basic principle of governance. So what does that mean? You should be thinking of a lot of precepts right now. Where did they get democracy from? From the so-called white man. South Korea and the so-called white man work hand in hand. America and South Korea, they do naval drills. They do military drills. They're heavy trading partners. South Korea is not like North Korea by any means. North Korea is a dictatorship. South Korea is just another puppet country from the beast. So they have adopted a Greek philosophy, even though they are an ancient Moabite mixed with Ammonite nation. And they said, we're going to adopt the democracy, which means power to the people. Demos meaning people, and kratios meaning power. And that's where their country is overthrown. Right? Now, the Lord said in 2nd Ezra, we're going to stay in the same chapter, but we're going to jump. We're going to jump down. Right? This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 46. And thou, Asia, that includes you Chinese, you Koreans, right? You Japanese, you East Indians, and thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon and art the glory of her person. Because a lot of these Moabite countries, they want to be like America. What is the hope of Babylon that they want to be a partaker of? Longevity, conquering the children of Israel, defying the living God, ruling the earth, commerce, trade, war. The hope of Babylon is that they can destroy the Most High and rule over the earth. And these Moabite nations, they look up to the beast, and they are a partaker of the beast's hope, and they're the glory of a person. Now, South Korea, if you pull up South Korea and America relations, they are strong allies. Check this out. Look at this. South Korea has a long military alliance with the United States, aiding the U.S. in every war since the Vietnam War. See that? Every war since the Vietnam War, South Korea said, you know what, Esau, we got your back. We got your back, Esau, right? Yeah, your wars are full of corruption, murder, sex trafficking, genocide, pillaging, robbery. But you know what? If you need an ally, we're here. Give us a call. So South Korea and America, they're like this. That's what they have adopted the democracy. It says including the Iraq War. So when the Iraq War was going on, you had South Koreans out there shooting up Elamites and Ishmaelites, man, molesting children, kicking doors down, looking for so-called weapons of mass destruction. The South Korean man was there too. Stop thinking it's just Esau. That's what the Lord said. They are a partaker in the glory of a person. And that's where their government is collapsing. Because they have allied themselves to the beast. Right? Let me read that one more time. South Korea has had a long military alliance with the United States, aiding the U.S. in every war since the Vietnam War, including the Iraq War. At the 2009 G20 London Summit, then U.S. President Barack Obama called South Korea, right, quote unquote, one of America's closest allies and greatest friends. Look at that. And they don't say that about everybody, or maybe they do. They're greatest friends. This is Bible prophecy being fulfilled. Let's go back to 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and 46. And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. So the Lord said death and destruction to these Moabite, Ammonite nations who have denied their ancient customs and their ancient religions and their ancient principles, and have put it on a back burner to lay down with the whore. The Lord said, you made yourself like her. And the South Korean leader, where is he at? Right? Where's the martial law? Let's pull it back up. South Korea martial law. Right? Look at this. Now people are asking, can martial law happen in America? It's not can it happen, it's when is it going to happen? Right? So they're just like the beast, man. He wears a suit and tie. He's a partaker of the hope. Where's his ancient Moabite garment at? Right? Where's his ancient Moabite Ammonite garment at? He has a power tie on, a suit on, hair like a so-called white man, shaved beard. Let's read this in 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra 15, 2nd Ezra 15 and 48. Thou hast followed her, that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore saith the Most High, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. And the glory of the power shall be dried up as flour, when the heat shall arise that is sent over thee. So you're going to have this corruption and the plagues that the Most High is going to send into South Korea, right? That he's going to send into South Korea. Now, again, I'm not going to read this whole article, but I'm going to read this part. South Koreans were shocked on Tuesday when President Yoon Suk Yeol said, and look at, they got a president, right? Just like the beast. Said they didn't even call it a prime minister or king or, whatever. Right? Emperor. A lot of these Moabites had emperors, and dynasties. All of that is thrown out the window for president. He announced live on a TV broadcast that he was declaring martial law, then reversed course just hours later, after initial confusion over exactly what measures would be taken. The South Korean military released a decree banning protest and activity by parliament and political parties and placing media under government control. So that's a complete shutdown. And this is coming to America. And that's why Yahweh Shmuel Shah is allowing these things to happen. Right? One, so you Israelites could take this truth serious, man. Stop playing around, man. Martial law, we talk about it. Oh, you guys are conspiracy theorists. Martial law would never happen. Show me the preset martial law, right? Well, hold on now. Martial law is happening in democratic nations, in a democracy set up by the so-called white man. You don't think it's coming to America? You'll be out your damn mind. All protest, all that, I got a right to protest. This is my First Amendment. Hey, when martial law kick off, ain't nobody trying to hear that, man. The so-called white man's military, you're not trying to hear that. You're impeding on my First Amendment's right. I have a right to press. I have a right to free speech. I have a right to do this. All that's going out the window, man. And things are going to become, they call it draconian laws and draconian measures. And I believe that goes back to a so-called white man. Now, they put the parliament, the government, and even the media. So ain't no going live. Ain't no, we need to call the local news agency to come film what's going on. That stuff is going to be shut down. Right? Draconian measures. Let's pull that up. Draconian meaning in law, right? The word draconian describes laws or rules that are really harsh and repressive. In ancient Athens, Draco was a man or a guy who made some seriously strict laws. So rules that are too restrictive or just plain unfair are called draconian. Rigorous, unusually severe or cruel, right? Unusually severe or cruel. And most societies are going to take these this spirit of draconian laws, you know, and that spirit of Draco is coming back on the earth. Now, let me pull this up. Well, let's pull up this guy Draco, right? Not a Draco, right? Let's pull this up. Now, this is I want to see if they actually has some of the examples. Right? But some of these laws, when you go into it, I mean, these things were strict, right? And we may look at that, you know, in time to come. But this is where it comes from, right? Draconian laws goes back to Draco, which was a so-called white man, an Athenian lawgiver, right? An Athenian lawgiver, and things were strict, man. Things were strict. And look at it. That's the spirit of the dragon that's coming back on the earth. And they're going to restrict all of your rights and restrict all of your so-called options that you thought you had. You know, you thought America was a free country. Hey, look, you're going to find out, man, how free it is. You're going to find out what the hell is actually going on, where even the media is placed under government control. Right? Which is technically already the case. Now, it reads, why did Yoon declare martial law? Yoon said opposition parties had taken the parliamentary process hostage. I declare martial law to protect Free Republic of Korea, not a republic, from the threat of North Korean communist forces, to eradicate the despicable pro-North Korean anti-state forces that are plundering the freedom and happiness of our people, and to protect the free constitutional order, Yoon said. Now that sounds like a speech right out the playbook of the so-called white man. That sounds like something the president would say in America when he declares martial law. right? Only a few words kind of swapped here and there. Instead of pro-North Korean, they might say Black Hebrew Israelites, or he might say terrorist, or he might say, whatever. But this sounds like a speech that they write for the president every 4 years. This doesn't sound like an ancient Moabite mind. This is the mind of a so-called white man, a drunk Moabite man, plundering the freedom and happiness of our people to protect the free republic of North Korea, of South Korea, right? So again, you have martial law going down, man. Martial law was going down in South Korea, right? Now I believe they pulled back and they revoked it, but it happened. Right? Now this is the video before we move on to the next thing. Look at this. Look at this. This Moabite woman was feeling herself, man. Right? Oh man, I had the video, so let me go back. And she was actually wrestling a damn soldier, man. So a lot of these people, they gonna have nothing to lose. They ain't gonna have nothing to lose, and they gonna risk it all. They're gonna be fighting these soldiers, trying to take the damn gun out their hand, throwing bricks and rocks and Mazel Tov. Was that Mazel Tov? Let me play this real quick. Let me play the audio of this through the spirit. Right? So this is the madness that's going on in a democracy. This is the fall of democracy, right? Like one of I believe the president or prime minister of Turkey said this is the fall of Western civilization. And South Korea is just an extension of Western civilization.
Tonight, pressure growing on the leader of one of America's key allies,
which is fair use.
Mass protests in South Korea, including outside the National Assembly, demanding the impeachment of President Yoon Suk-yeol. People are gathered on the steps of the National Assembly, where just 24 hours ago, this extraordinary chain of events was set off. Yoon facing backlash over his brief failed bid to impose martial law to stop what he called pro-North Korean forces inside the government. His move rejected by lawmakers.
And that's how you know a society is weak, man. How can you be the president, enforce a law, but then it get rejected by the lawmaker? So they don't have any power. And when we talk about the 10 toes, part strong and partly weak, they should mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they should not cleave to one another. That's in Daniel, the 2nd chapter. So you got the so-called white man mingled himself, and he's amongst the other nations, right? And he has his power as Rome, but they can't cleave one to another. So the South Korea is damn near an extension of the beast, man. A weak clay-like government where you declare martial law, and then the people say, "Oh, well, hold on, you can't do that." Now he's supposed to be the president. He's supposed to be the king. He's supposed to be able to call shots, and they're supposed to be able to stand. But that shows you how weak these societies and these world leaders are. And the Lord said in 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter, look how so much more the world shall be weaker through age. People are weaker, they're sicker. People are getting sick. You walk outside and you're damn sick, man. Immune systems are weaker. Fertility rate is declining. The trees are weaker. The minds of the people are deranged and weak and bugged out. World leaders have no power. Everything's weak. It's failing. It's declining. It's corruptible. And it's over with, man. You could feel that this is the end. Right? So let's play this again.
Of the National Assembly, where just 24 hours ago, this extraordinary chain of events was set off. Yoon facing backlash over his brief failed bid to impose martial law to stop what he called.
Now, hold on now. Let's be a bunch of Negroes out there. We'll be a bunch of thugs. We'll be a bunch of hoodlums out there. We'll be a bunch of apes out there, monkeys. They'll say, why don't you get a job? Look at black people again. It'll be all types of proverbs and bywords on us. But what about these Moabites? What are they now? Thugs? You know? Hoodlums?
Flash over his brief failed bid to impose martial.
These thugs out here fighting the police. I don't want to hear nothing again. Let a Moabite walk up to me and say something, man.
Law to stop what he called pro-North Korean forces inside the government. His move rejected by lawmakers, but not before it sparked chaos. Included by lawmakers.
Moabite holding the gun. Look at this madness.
But not before.
Look at this. Look at that. Now I don't know if he got something that in the chamber. I don't know. Hey, but she don't got nothing to lose. Now I don't know if she's part of this, if she's a what they call a crisis actor, a false flag, psyop, government. I don't know, but she's grabbing a damn gun. Now suppose this guy, kind of shot her, man. All hell would have broke loose.
Impose martial law to stop what he called pro-North Korean forces inside the government. His move rejected by lawmakers, but not before it sparked chaos, including confrontations with police. At one point, hundreds of troops moving into the assembly through smashed windows. The U.S.
This is democracy. For all of you so-called Negroes that love America, this is the fruit of America. This is the end of democracy. This is what you get when you have a government structure where the people have power and not Yahweh, Ba'ashmi Awashah. Where you have given flesh and blood power and not the Almighty God. And elite and wicked, corrupt men of shadow governments that have nothing to do with you, who serve their own interest and their own belly and their own vanities. And these Moabites in South Korea, they don't know what's going on. They're drunker than the average Jake out here. They don't know about the Illuminati. They don't know about the shadow government, clandestine operations, the elites. They're just drunk. That woman that grabbed that gun, her mind is gone. Her mind is gone. A lot of these Moabites be painting themselves white, man. That skin lightening cream, dyeing their hair blonde. This is democracy. Now, this is supposed to be the fruit of, if Esau is supposed to be he's Albert Einstein, he's allegedly Sir Isaac Newton, he's all of these top prominent, intelligent white men. Why does your government structure always lead to civil unrest and chaos? For all you people that trust the so-called white man, here's how he set you up. And this is what's coming to a city near you.
U.S. saying it had no warning of the president's move. Secretary of State Blinken tonight.
We're obviously watching the developments very closely. This is one of our closest partners.
That is one of our closest partners.
And allies around the world.
A vote among lawmakers could happen as early as Friday.
You see that? So this is going on, man. Right? That's going on right now in South Korea. Right now in South Korea. And I believe they revoked it, but they may put it back out there. But hey, it's going down. Right? It's going down. You had before I get to that, you had, speaking of Western civilization, Turkish president, right? Here's what he said. The progress Turkish president Recep Tayyip Erdogan said the progress of the West is built on blood, tears, and genocide. Western civilization will collapse and our divine and human civilization will flourish. Now he's wrong about one thing, he's right about the other. Well, he's wrong about his divine human civilization that will flourish. He's absolutely wrong about that. But one thing he did get right is the progress of the West is built on blood, tears, and genocide. And everybody that calls the Israelites racist, we're a hate group. We hate so-called white men. We're out there stirring up trouble. Well, why is the leader, a actual president of an entire country, saying the exact same thing that we say? So he must be he must be an Israelite. He must be part of a hate group. He must be a black Hebrew Israelite, man. Right? Now, what he's saying is true. And I'm sarcastically speaking, right? This is the book of Job, chapter 20. Right? Let's get this precept in Job chapter 20. This is Job chapter 20 and verse 19. It reads, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away in house which he builded not. And that's the so-called white man. He hath oppressed, robbed, and pillaged the earth. He hath forsaken the poor, and he hath violently, through the sword, through disease, through bombs and deception, he has taken away a house, meaning lands, countries, which he didn't build. Huh? So what the man in Turkey, Erdogan, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, what he's saying is backed up in the Bible, right? You have to be a fool not to know that the West, when he says the West, he's saying NATO and the EU. They're built on blood, tears, and genocide. And he said Western civilization will collapse. And the Most High put that on his spirit to say that. Just like the Most High put it on the spirit of Cyrus to say, go back and build. Like he put the spirit on Nebuchadnezzar to say, blessed be the God of Daniel. The Lord said that the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So even a world leader of Turkey is saying, coming out and saying the progress of the West is built on blood, tears, and genocide. Let's get another quick precept on that. Let's prove that. Let's go to James, the 5th chapter. And I want to go to 2nd Esdras. And I still want to tackle some of these questions, Lord willing. Right? I'm going to hold this in 2nd Esdras. But this is James chapter 5 and verse 1. Right? James 5 and 1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Now, when it says rich man, it's not talking about LeBron James, Jay-Z, Kanye West, right? Oprah. The rich men are the elites, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Oppenheimers, the DuPonts, the Gettys. These are the rich elites that the Most High is speaking against. Those that print the money, own the Federal Reserve, who don't want for anything. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. So all of the wealth that they've accumulated, the Most High said that in judgment, we know that you need 2 or 3 witnesses. That's law, right? Out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, shall what? Shall the matter be established. So when the Most High has to destroy Babylon the Great, one of the witnesses is going to be what? All of the wealth and the land that they have stolen. It's going to speak volumes against the actions of the so-called white man and all of the treasure that they heap for the last days. And there are treasures that we haven't even seen. All of our gold that Solomon had, our golden cups, the snuffers, the dishes, the spoons, the tabernacle, the brazen altar, all of the brass that was without weight. All of these things, where are they? Esau has them. That's the true treasure that he's heaped up for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you, kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. So all of the wealth that they got through robbery and oppression, the Most High said that the people who are oppressed, they're crying out to the Most High. How long is the so-called white man going to get away with this? How long is he going to rob, murder, steal? How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And the Lord of hosts, the Lord of Sabaoth, he's hearing it. Ye have lived, Slakia, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth, Slakia, and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. And this how Esau lives. They live in pleasure. Hey, we're taking the bus, we're paying rent, mortgages, bills, you know, you pinching pennies, you living check to check. Something's always coming up, your car break down, then this happened. Esau don't live like that. These devils, they have lived in pleasure, man. They have places that you can't even go to. There are foods that they ate that you'll never even eat, even though they're clean. You'll never be able to wear the material that they wear. You'll never be able to go in the jets that they go. You'll never live the life that these elites live. You'll never have a slave, a servant. You will never snap your fingers, make a phone call, you got $3 trillion printed out by the Federal Reserve. They live in pleasure. Jake, your vacation to the Bahamas, it's not the true pleasure. Okay, you had a glass of wine, that's not true pleasure. These devils have lived in pleasure on the earth, right? Let's go to the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse number, let's start at 7. Habakkuk, I'll start at 6. Chapter 2 and verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long unto him that ladeth himself with thick clay? So all of the nations, they're going to take up a parable against the so-called white man. They're going to start talking, you know what? Saying that you're going to fall. Western civilization is going to collapse. That's what he's saying. Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. They built it on genocide. What do you say? Blood and tears. And he's some Ishmaelite offspring, Greek baby, Arab, Edomite, whatever he is, he's saying that. Some Ottoman Turk offspring. And even he's speaking that. And the strangest, not strangest, but the most ironic part of it is Turkey's a part of NATO. Turkey is a part of NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Now, South Korea, they're not a part of NATO. Turkey is a part of NATO. Imagine your homeboy, your mans, your brother, your comrade, your ally turning against you publicly and revealing all of your dirt, all of your secrets, and all of your wickedness that you've ever done. That's what Turkey's doing to America. They're supposed to be military allies. Turkey said, I had enough of you, bro. Turkey very well may break off from NATO. We've been saying that for years. And we believe it. The 10 horns are going to eat the flesh of the whore. She'll make her desolate and naked and burn her with fire. So even he's saying, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long unto him that ladeth himself with thick clay? Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? Meaning these nations that you oppressed, they're going to rob you and take you down, because thou hast spoiled many nations. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. So you robbed, you're going to get robbed. You murdered, you're going to get murdered. You committed violence in Turkey, violence in Iraq, violence in Afghanistan, violence in the Americas, violence on the earth, you're going to have violence in your land. And everybody that dwells therein, they're going to feel it. That's why the world leader of Turkey, right? Let's play this real quick. Let's see what he said. Let's see what he said. Again, this is also fair use.
Batı'nın kan.
So he said the West's progress is built on blood, tears, massacres, genocide, and exploitation.
Gözyaşı, katliam, soykırım ve sömürüye dayanan ilerlemesi.
Now he wouldn't have said that in the 1930s. He wouldn't have said that in the 1940s. Hey, hell, he wouldn't even have said it in the 50s, man. But, hey, the Most High got a spirit on the earth.
Doğunun ilahi ve insani medeniyetini boğmak için altını çizerek söylüyorum.
Look at that. They said they strangled the divine and human-centered civilization of the East.
Geçici bir dönem üstünlüğü eline geçirmiştir. Gün gelecek, kutsalı ve insanı dışlayan ilerleme dönemlerinin parantezi er ya da geç kapanacak.
And he said, and as Western civilization collapses with a great clamor. So the Most High got a spirit on him, man. He said they're going to collapse with a great clamor, a mighty overthrow. So the Most High got the spirit on him, man. He put a spirit on him.
Batı uygarlığı büyük bir gürültüyle çökerken sahip olduğumuz öz ve ruh ile bizim ilahi insani aşk medeniyetimiz hem de daha güçlü olarak Allah'ın.
He said, with our human essence and our spirit will flourish. You see that? With our essence and our spirit will flourish. Because, you know, a lot of these Ishmaelites, they still have an ancient mind. They have an ancient mind, and a lot of them, although they're not in the truth, they know that the so-called white man's the devil. And they believe in spirits. They believe in demons. They know who Satan is. They call America the great Satan. They know who the Israelites are. You know? So he's speaking about the essence and the spirit. It's because he still has that, a lot of these people still have that ancient Eastern, you know, Semitic mind, where everybody knew about the Most High back then. Everybody knew about the children of Israel. Everybody knew about Yahushua and the prophets and the apostles. All ancient nations knew that. So he's really just tapping back into his ancient mind. Yeah, he's part of NATO in the flesh. He has a suit and tie on his arms and his chest and body. But right now, while he's speaking, the Most High gave him back his ancient mind to speak about against the tyranny of the so-called white man. So I'm going to rewind that a little bit.
Sahip olduğumuz öz ve ruh ile bizim ilahi insani aşk medeniyetimiz hem de daha güçlü olarak Allah'ın izniyle.
He threw the damn fist up, man, and said, with our essence and our spirit will flourish.
Tekrar inkişaf edecek, şaha kalkacak.
And it will rear up even more strongly with God's permission. Now you're kind of going left a little bit, right? Because the Most High is not going to raise up Turkey. He's not going to rear up Turkey. He's not going to rear. Everybody think the Most High is going to be working with them after Esau fall. Everybody knows Esau is going to fall, but guess what? Y'all don't have next. There's no scripture where the Ishmaelites have next. Give me the account Esau's the end of the world and Ishmael is beginning that following. Where's that at? It's not in there. So they won't be in for a rude awakening, man. When we come out them chariots and punch you in the damn mouth.
Kalkacaktır. Filistin'de, Gazze'de, Lübnan'da,
So that's it. That's pretty much it. You can watch the rest on your own. Now he's out there again. He's giving that speech. And the point is, he's coming out and saying that Western civilization is going to collapse, right? And again, the Most High, he put it in his spirit to say that, man. Right? The Lord controls these kings. He controls what they say, what they do, when they war, when they don't go to war, man. All these things are ordained by the Creator, the Almighty God, Yahweh Bashmi Awashah. And the Lord said in Isaiah, right, let me get this real quick in Isaiah, chapter 44 and verse number 28. That said of Cyrus, he is my shepherd and shall perform all my pleasure. Even saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built, and to the temple, thy foundation shall be laid. So who made Cyrus do that? The Most High. He said, he shall perform all my pleasure. That man in Turkey, Erdogan, right? If I'm pronouncing his name correctly, he's going to perform the pleasure of the Most High God. It's the same way Cyrus did. See, what people fail to realize is that all world leaders, rather they were dictators like Stalin, Lenin, Hitler, Alexander the Freak, Antiochus Epiphanes, they have performed the pleasure of the Most High. Men that were beloved in their societies and world leaders that people praise and laud, they were also performing on behalf of the Most High, doing his pleasure. So everything you see going on the earth is for the Most High's pleasure. That's in Revelation, the 4th chapter. For thy pleasure, they are and were created, right? Revelation chapter 4 and 11. Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. They are and were created. He was created to put those statements out there, huh? Right? The Most High created America for its purpose. Everything has a purpose with Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua. Wars have a purpose. World War III is set up by the Most High. That's why you have the Netherlands, right? The Netherlands, and again, this very well may come to Babylon the Great, to America. The Netherlands Ministry of Defense, for the first time in almost 30 years, is exploring reinstating the draft. When war comes, having one citizenship means having no options, right? The Dutch military is considering full-on conscription. Here's what we know. And they say no one has been called up since 1997. Now, what is conscription? It means the draft. It's another word for the draft. Con meaning whip, script meaning to write, right? Names are written down. Army numbers are documented. Who's going to fulfill this office? Who's going to be a soldier? Who's going to be in this squad? Who's going to be in the Navy? All of that is the conscription. So now you have nations telling their people, you're going to war. You don't have a damn choice. You're going to war, and you're going to fight our wars. Now, why are they considering this? Because they know that there's an inevitable war between the West and Russia. What's going on in Ukraine? It's only a matter of time before other European nations have to get involved on a hand-to-hand combat, full-scale war. Ukraine can only do so much with weapons that they're getting from NATO. Those weapons that they shot where Russia launched the intercontinental ballistic missile, that's small. And that's not going to hold too long. Eventually, something's going to have to give. And you have world leaders in the West actually telling their people a draft is coming. And it's really nothing that they're going to be able to do about it. All right, let's pull up a conscription, right, for brothers that may not be too familiar with that. Compulsory, meaning by force, enrollment of persons, especially for military service. especially for military service. Here's another definition. Compulsory enlistment for state service, typically into the armed forces. Con meaning with, and scribere is a Latin infinitive, which means to write, right? So you have records about who's going to be in the army, right? And how many people are going to be in the army. And again, yeah, you may say, okay, well, that has nothing to do with me. I'm here in America. I'm in DC. I'm in Seattle. I'm in Kansas City. I'm in Atlanta. It's only a matter of time before this hits other European nations. And they're considering it. England is considering it. They may not come out and say it, but they're considering it. France, they are considering it. Germany, they are considering it. These world leaders know that patriotism is dead. Patriotism, which is the notion, it goes back to the Latin word pater, meaning father. Your father country, your home country is the greatest country. These people don't believe that anymore, man. That's why they're overthrowing their governments. That's why they're protesting. They're marching. They're killing world leaders. There's assassination attempts, coups. So patriotism is dead amongst Western European nations, which means that people don't want to join the military. They know the corruption. They see the BS going on. They see the wars rooted in murder, genocide, for gold, oil, and drugs. A lot of these people see that. They have the internet. They got TikTok like you got TikTok. They got Instagram like you got Instagram. They watch documentaries like you. They watch YouTube like you. And they know very damn well what's really going on in these wars. Right? So you're going to have a conscription. Now, when you look at the last time, let's pull up United States draft. I believe the last time they had it was Vietnam. Right? Selected service. Let's pull this up. Conscription in the United States. In the United States, military conscription, commonly known as the draft, has been employed by the U.S. federal government in 6, see that's spiritual, conflicts. And the 7th one is going to be completion. The 7th one is going to be completion. See that's spiritual. The Revolutionary War, the Civil War, World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. The 4th incarnation of the draft came into being in 1940 through the Selective Training and Service Act. This was the country's first time or first peacetime draft, right? So again, you're going to have these spirits back on the earth. You don't have people in long lines trying to join the army anymore. Anybody that's joining the military, they're just looking to go to college and get a damn Hellcat, looking to get some money, but they're not looking to actually fight for their country, right? That's why we read this precept, we quoted it. Let's get this in Daniel, the 2nd chapter, about how weak and divided this kingdom is. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 2, and verse number 42. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. So you have nations, and if they knew that the people really loved their countries, they wouldn't have a conscription. They wouldn't have to consider it because people would volunteer. Like I believe that's World War I. Everybody damn near volunteered, everybody and their mother and their son. They believed in America and the American dream. And they weren't corrupted. They were innocently going to war thinking that they were fighting for a great cause, to protect their families and to protect the American homeland. Those days are just a dream now and a shadow that fadeth away. So nobody's really thinking about, I have to defend my country and defend my home. No, they know when they go to war, they're going to war as a pawn on a chessboard by these elites. So this kingdom is partly strong and is partly broken. It's strong physically, military spending, weapons, technology, but it's broken mentally. The people are broken. They are broken apart. The government is broken. Society is broken. Society is collapsing. So I'm not surprised, man. A lot of these Negroes, man, you're trying to get to the NFL draft, you're going to be in the World War III draft. You're going to be called out there. You're going to have to deal with it, man. So the Dutch military is considering full-on conscription. Here's what we know. And I'm not going to read this whole article, but you could dive back into it. And they're part of NATO. They are a part of NATO. Another thing on the earth. Dramatic declines in global fertility rates set to transform global populations by 2100. So now you got all these nations, they have very low fertility rates, right? Very low fertility rates. But Slovakia, by 2050, boy, Slovakia, let me see if I can click this. All right, they won't let me. Anyways, see if I can. All right. By 2050, over 3/4 of countries will not have high enough fertility rates to sustain population size over a time. So the Most High is decreasing these nations, man. He's straightening these nations up, man. Here we are as the Israelites. We're populating. We're booming. We're as the sand of the sea that cannot be measured or numbered. But now you got these other countries, especially the so-called white man. When you look up white fertility rate, right? Let's type in declining because they don't want to try to hide it. Right? Let's see if I can find this. Right? We went into this a long time ago. There's more deaths. Let's see if we can get 20 something from 2024. There were more deaths than births. Look at this. White demographic decline and a 2024 election. Right? So you have the so-called white man race declining. Right? And we brought this out. This was a while ago. White deaths exceed births in a majority of U.S. states. And all praise to the Most High, man. That's a beautiful thing. Now, the last article I saw was from this year, and he said global fertility rates are declining. I mean, this is excellent news, man. You know, this is beautiful. You know, now we knew this before, but it's just good to see it again. It's good to know that more Edomites are dying than being born. And what better news do you want to hear, man? Where Edomites, their deaths exceed by, I think, damn near double. Didn't the Lord say in Obadiah, I have made thee small among the heathen, right? Thou art greatly despised. This is Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. And Esau has been made small. He's been made small among the heathen, man. Right? He likes to feign himself as the majority. Right? He likes to feign himself as the majority, but he's the minority. Look at this. The brother just sent me this. Right? Man found guilty of binge eating to avoid draft. You see that? You see that? See that? A man, South Korean, a 26-year-old South Korean started to deliberately gain weight before his physical examination for military service. Right the water for that, King. You see that? So we're just talking about the draft. And the brother said that you got people now, they're binge eating so they can fail their physical. So they don't have to go fight in these wars, man. So this place is finished. This place is finished. Right? So Jake, people going to be looking to find any reason to get out this draft, man. Binge eating. So he can fail his physical examination. and not go to war, right? Now, back to the point, I have made thee small among the heathen. So again, Esau feigns himself as being a majority. We all know he's the minority. And that's the Lord doing it. He's slowly decreasing these Edomites, man. Little by little, one by one. Let's go to Psalms, right? And again, I do want to tackle some of these questions. This is Psalms chapter 109 and verse 13. Let his posterity be cut off, and in the generation following, let their name be blotted out. And his posterity, his birthright, his lineage, you understand? His pedigree is being cut off. And his generations that follow, their names are being blotted out, with the global fertility rate at an all-time low. And a lot of these articles, when you look it up, they'll try to say, oh, even so-called blacks and Hispanics, right? They just throw us in there. We're as the sand of the sea. You can't number us. They want to throw us in there to make it seem like it's a we problem instead of a them problem. That's why they always throw all different ethnicities into their problems. No, they're the ones that have the damn problem. Where more are dying than actually being born, right? More are dying than actually being born. So let me dive into a few of these questions, right? Let me dive into some of these questions. All right, first question. From Kapashkad, WFI, Shalom, King Shalom, is Lot the elect? And why was it right for him to give up his daughters instead of the angels? Yes, Lot is the elect, right? And he gave up his daughters, and that was the right thing to do because he had the angels underneath his house. And in the ancient world, you wouldn't give up, and neither today would you give up your guest. You know, you protect your guests. You protected those that came up under your house, chiefly the angels of the Lord. Now, a lot of people don't like what Lot did, right? Well, that's because you're emotional. And when we read this Bible, we're not taught to be emotional. You're taught to be spiritual. You can't let your emotions cloud your judgment. Well, I don't like why he did that. His daughters, they didn't get to say anything. Hey, look, man. Lot did what he had to do. He made a quick decision, a wise decision. It was on the fly. It was nothing else he could do. And either he was going to cause the angels of God to get raped by lewd, wicked men, or give his daughters up that had not known man unto these men. What would you do? You got the angels of God in your house. You made them a feast. Men are beating at the door, and you just throw the angels out and say, here, get violated to death. Right? Now, a lot of brothers, man, you would have to, I need to go on a fast. You know, I need to think about it. Okay, well, I don't know. Hey, Lot did what he had to do. Lot did what he had to do. You know? 2 Peter 2:7. And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. So he's called just, right? For that righteous man dwelling among them and seeing and hearing vexed his soul, vexed his righteous soul, Salaki, his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. Now, hospitality is something that we don't take as serious here in the West. You know, somebody come over your house and, you know, you don't offer them anything to eat or drink, and you rushing to get them out. You're making all these code words. Ask them, are they leaving? You yawn and tell them, I'm tired. Oh, man, I got to go to work in the morning. You're just throwing all of this stuff out there so they can try to catch on to the fact that you really want them gone. You really want them to leave. Well, when you read the Bible in the ancient world, we took care of our guests. We would have them tarry with us for a day. We would make them a feast. So hospitality in the Near East, it was completely different than how it is in today's time as well. See if that's if they actually talk about that hospitality in the Near East, right? See this? Hospitality is most evident in the Middle Eastern tradition of feasting. When guests are invited into a home, they are not just given a meal, but treated to an elaborate and abundant spread of food. Why are Middle Eastern people so hospitable? Right? Now they say Islamic teaching. We know Islam comes from the Bible, right? Encourages generosity and hospitality. Many Arabs are guided by these principles because they get it from the scriptures, which promote the idea of welcoming and providing for their guests, right? Why are Arabic people more generous and friendly with their guests than Westerners are, right? Here's another one. Generosity and kindness are fundamental values in Arab culture. It really is Middle Eastern culture. And guests in Arab society are considered sacred and deeply respected. So your guest that came over, you didn't just give them a glass of water like today, right? Here, take your shoes off. Here's a glass of water. Right? You kind of hear them out, and you in the other room, and you just give them a damn dirty glass, man. And like I said, you give them all these hint words when you want them to leave. In the ancient world, if you went over to Lot's house or Abraham's house, you were treated like a god. You were treated like royalty, like a king. And that's something we have to get back to. We have to get back to that ancient mindset that Lot had, where the angels of the Almighty God appeared unto him, and he threw them an elaborate feast and protected the angels with his life. Now, there's a movie called what's that movie, man? It's with Mark Wahlberg and the other Edomites, and they got surrounded by all of these Arabs. Let's see if I can find that Mark Wahlberg movie with what was that movie, man? With Arabs. Lone Survivor. Now, when you watch this movie, Lone Survivor, not going to tell you the whole movie. Long story short, he ended up going into this village with a bunch of these Ishmaelites. And the Ishmaelites knew that the Edomites were their enemies, and they were killing them. But when he got to this one Arab guy house, this Ishmaelite house, the Ishmaelite actually protected him. He actually protected him because he was destitute and he didn't have anything. And even when the Arab people came out to try to kill this guy, he said, no, he's a guest in my house. Even his own people came to say, deliver up that American soldier. And he got on his knees, I believe in the movie, said, no, you can't take him. He's a guest in my house. And they kind of put their head down because they understood that hospitality. Like if I could find that clip, I'll show you that. But that goes back into the ancient mind, right? Let's get that account of Genesis, the 19th chapter, and we'll move on to the next question. So yes, Lot is the elect. Lot did what we all should have done. Lot wasn't emotional. He had an ancient mind, and he made a swift, wise decision. Now, if you're emotional, you're not going to agree with it, and you're going to say things that ought not to be said. But if you have that ancient mind of hospitality and wisdom, when the angels are underneath your roof, you're going to have to make that call. Right? Now, this is Genesis. I'm going to get straight to the point. Chapter 19 and verse number 14. Actually, I'll jump up, Salakia. This is Genesis chapter 19 and verse number 5. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men that came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us that we may know them. So they said, where are those two angels at, man? We want to know them. When it says know them, it's not saying, okay, what's your favorite color? Okay, do you like red? Do you like blue? Do you like Michael the archangel, or do you like Uriel? No, bring them out that we may know them is bring them out that we may have sex with them. And Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. And that was a righteous thing, man. Right? To rebuke that spirit. Behold, now I have two daughters, which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing. For therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. You see that? So he protected the angels. They're under the shadow of my roof. These are the angels of God. So are you going to protect your flesh and blood over the angels of the Most High? Or are you going to protect the angels of the Most High over your flesh and blood? Right? So we can move on. Right? Next question. Of course, brothers should seek the kingdom first. How would you advise a brother courting sisters and women and finding the right woman? Well, you're absolutely right, brother. Brothers should seek the kingdom of the Most High first. But how would I advise a brother courting a sister or a woman? Right? We'll be quick on this. Just quick, maybe 2 precepts. We'll kind of move on. We'll get the classic, right? First, a brother has to understand. I mean, this can be complex. This can be very complex, right? This could be a complex answer, but a brother has to understand first and foremost. Let's go to Luke 14 real quick in 28. He has to count the costs. He has to count the costs. This is the book of Luke, chapter 14, and verse number 28. For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? So anything that you begin to take on, any enterprise, any investment, any project, right? Anything that you're willing to take on, you have to count the cost. You have to have a plan. You have to have an analysis. You have to assess the risk. You have to assess the pros, the cons, the benefits. All of these things have to be weighed in the balance. Before a brother courts a sister, he has to count the cost and ask himself, do I have what it takes at this? Because you don't court a sister to freak off with a sister. You court a sister in hopes Most High willing to marry that woman. Now, a brother should, in his bond, before he even begins that, he should already be counting the cost, making sure that he has, as a man, spiritually, physically, financially, mentally, what he needs to be able to be a husband to this woman, right? He's not courting his sister to see if necessarily she's a right fit for him as his primary motive, but his primary motive is being a head to this woman. So before he tries to find the flaws and the good things and the bad things that he may see or not see in his woman, he has to look at himself first and make sure that he's built up as a man to the Most High. He's not still living in his mother's basement, right? He's 40 years old. He doesn't have a job. The brother doesn't have a license. He just came into this truth last week, and he's just trying to find a wife. I want to court a sister. How do I court a sister? No, the brother has to get his spirit right and count the cost and understand what's actually going on in this truth. That's the first thing I would say, to answer this question is the brother wants to really count the cost and ask himself, is this investment something that I am able to go through and endure? Do I have what it takes to be able to be ahead of this system? Am I built up in the knowledge? Am I around the brotherhood? Do I have people to hold me accountable? Am I financially stable? Am I mentally stable? Am I coming into this marriage and courtship with years and years of baggage and hurt and what they call haven't been healed and all of this stuff, man? He has to really count this cost, man. Do I know the scriptures, how to take care of a woman? Don't just go into a courtship looking for what you like out of a sister, right? You want to know yourself and build yourself up in the spirit first and foremost, right? That's what I would advise that brother, right? Because it's easy to go into what to look for in a sister, but the brother needs to look within himself and see what he needs to build himself up as a man of the Most High first. Then after that, we got the follow-up question, right? Keller, Salakia, right? If I'm butchering your name. My question is, when feast days fall on the Sabbath, are we allowed to cook on those days, or do we still need to prepare that Friday before sundown? Okay, let's say you had your feast. Let's give an example. Let's say the Passover, right? Passover, Feast of Tabernacles, Feast of Dedication, right? The first days of Sabbath. Let's use the Feast of Tabernacles for an example, right? Let's go to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, right? Let's go to Leviticus. I'll try to be rapid fire, most I willing with a lot of these questions, and not tarry. This is Leviticus chapter 23 and 39. Also, in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto Yahweh 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. So this first day, that's a Sabbath. If it so happens to fall on the 7th day of the week, then yes, you're still able. You don't disannul the first day of the Feast of Tabernacles because it's the weekly Sabbath. You keep the Feast of Tabernacles. It's the first day. It's a Sabbath. It's a holy convocation. So they are feasting. So yes, you can cook. So they have mirth and gathering. No buying, no selling on that day. The 8th day is also a Sabbath, the holy convocation, a solemn assembly. You can cook on that day. No buying, no selling. If a new moon so happens to fall on a weekly Sabbath, if the Passover so happens to fall on a weekly Sabbath, if the memorial blowing of the trumpet so happens to fall on a weekly Sabbath, you are indeed allowed to cook on those days. All right. So we're moving on. Limb of Israel. Shalom, can you break down Leviticus chapter 15 and 24? I know I can't go into my wife while she is on her flower, but can I lay in the same bed as my wife when she is on her flower? And brother, no, right? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not, right? Let's go to Leviticus chapter 15, 24. Now you can say, well, I'm not laying down with, I'm not going, we just cuddling. Brother, that's not the wisest thing to do, right? You're cuddling with your woman while she's on her flower, right? You're unclean. You become unclean. You're willingly, although it's not a sin to make yourself, or it's not a sin to be unclean. It is not a sin to be unclean because you can be unclean by chance, right? Pursuing the Deuteronomy, the 23rd chapter, or Numbers, the 19th chapter, for dead body. So happens to fall about you, or if you touch something. So, if you're unclean, it depends on how you made yourself unclean. If you're willingly going around and making yourself unclean and freaking off, and you're going around the grave and you're touching a dead body and you're touching people, and you see your woman, she on her flower, and she get up and you damn sniff the chair and grab everything and you lay all up with her and in the damn bed and you're rolling around with her while she's on her flower and it's all hell breaking loose. And that's foul. Now, you don't want to be a foul brother, right? You don't want to be a foul brother, right? This is Leviticus 15 and 24. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon her, meaning her blood, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereon he lieth shall be clean. And if it be on her bed, I'm going to jump to 23. I'll jump to 22. I'll jump to 21. I'll jump to 20. And everything that she lieth upon and her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean. So if you land in her bed's unclean. You land in her bed, brother, you're becoming unclean. Now you say, well, I love my wife and, I don't know what to do without her. Well, brother, you better, there's a couch, if you got a futon, if you got a damn sleeping bag, if you got a guest room, that's where you should be sleeping. Now you can be mad. Well, I don't know what to do. I love my wife. Brother, that's what you have to do. Now, in the ancient world, the woman had different tents. Like Rachel, she will have her tent. When you read Genesis, the 31st chapter, she said, my flowers, she said, it is the custom of woman. That's what she told Laban. Because she was in her tent, and if she was on her flower, Jacob wasn't defiled. Jacob had his tent. Leah had her tent. Jacob wasn't all up in Rachel's tent when she was on her flower. That would be unclean. That's what verse 21 says, and whosoever toucheth her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean unto the even. So you would be willingly making yourself unclean. And whosoever toucheth anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even. Right? So, brother, you would be unclean. Right? You would be unclean. So let's read 23. And if it be on her bed or in anything whereon she sitteth, when he toucheth it, he shall be unclean until the even. Right? And if you lay down with her, you're unclean 7 days. Right? So that's plain. Second Maccabees 1:18. Do we dwell in tents during the feast of dedication, like the Feast of Tabernacles, or does this just mean that we keep the Feast of Dedication 8 days, like the Feast of Tabernacles? That's what it means, right? You keep the Feast of Dedication is coming up, December 24th at sundown. You keep it like the Feast of Tabernacles, meaning, again, the Feast of Tabernacle is 8 days. The first days of Sabbath, the 8 days of Sabbath. You keep the Feast of Dedication in like manner. The first day of the Feast of Dedication is the Sabbath. The 8th day of the Feast of Dedication is also a Sabbath, right? You don't dwell in booths during the Feast of Dedication. Now, the brother quoted, it's like your Second Maccabees 1:18. So let's actually read that. Let's go to Second Maccabees 1:18. You can read about the Feast of Dedication and First Maccabees, the 4th chapter when it's instituted. You obviously want to read the 1st, 2nd, and the 3rd chapter as well. But the 4th chapter is when the temple is clean, cleansed, and dedicated. And the decree is made. And you can also read about the decree being established to keep the Feast of Dedication in 2nd Maccabees, the 1st chapter as well. So let's read 2nd Maccabees, chapter 1, and verse number 18. It reads, therefore, whereas we are now proposed to keep the purification of the temple upon the 5 and 20th day of the month Caslu. That's the month we in now, the 9th month. We thought it necessary to certify you thereof, that ye also might keep it, as the Feast of Tabernacles, and of the fire which was given us when Nehemiah offered sacrifice after he had built the temple and the altar. So before we get too deep, yeah, you just keep it in those 8 days. All right. Rapid fire. In Revelation 18, when it talks about the merchants will be standing far off, watching the great city Babylon be destroyed, then it says that the city will be found no more again. Is that saying that America will be stubble with not one person left? Or is this when there will be few people left from each city? Jacob's Trouble, can you explain it? Hoping to ask the question right. Okay. Now, let me go back and read it. All right, let's go to Revelation 18, right? About the merchant standing afar off. Right. And I hope I answer your question correctly, right? Let's go to Revelation 18 chapter. This is Revelation chapter 18 and verse number 15. It reads, the merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. Now these merchants that are going to bewail the downfall of America are the remnant of America's allies, right? And the corporations that they still do trade with. Countries like New Zealand, Australia, Japan, South Korea. There are countries that are not going to be totally wiped off the earth with corporations and businesses and merchants that still do trade with America. You know, even though you may have Russia, China, other countries against it, you have private investors, which are these merchants. You have CEOs, which are these merchants, and you have corporations, which do trade with America. So when America is totally destroyed, the benefactors of America are the ones that are going to bewail her, understanding that they can't do trade with her anymore. They're not going to be able to ship all of their goods to America, you know, and receive payment for those things. Revelation 18 and 17. For in 1 hour, so great riches has come to naught, and every shipmaster, and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? So when you deal with maritime trade, America is the top nation in maritime, meaning sea trade. So the nations that do trade with America, they're going to be well her downfall once America's taken out. Now, looking back at your question, there won't be one person left in America, but you're going to have remnants of people from other lands that are going to see the downfall of America and bewail it, right? That's what it's talking about, right? So let's move on to the next question. All right, trying to blitz through these. Kalia 7. The Romans 11 olive tree is throwing me off, Ak. And in Romans 11 to 13, it says, I speak to you Gentiles. Can you explain who the wild olive tree is? Is it the Gentiles, non-Israelites, or Gentile Israelites? Well, it's Gentile Israelites, right? It's Gentile Israelites. When the Lord said, I speak to you Gentiles, he's speaking to the Israelites who didn't know that they were Israelites, who were Hellenized, lived like the Greeks and the Romans, right? Now I'm not going to do a whole breakdown on this, but we'll get maybe 2 precepts. Romans 11, right? To answer the question. All right, let's go to Romans 11. Now, you know, Romans 11 is about Israel. It starts off with Israel, and Romans 11 and 1. Here's a succinct version, right? I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. So it starts off with the Lord not casting off the Israelites. That's the context. Salakia. Pull this back up. Now, when you jump down to verse number 13, it reads, I'll just jump to 13 for sake of time. For I speak to you Gentiles, and as much as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office. When he said, I speak to you Gentiles, when you read Romans 1 and 7, he's telling you, he says to the saints, you know, that live in Rome, paraphrasing. When you read Romans, the first chapter, this is written to the saints, to those who are called to be saints, paraphrasing, in Rome. Those are the Gentiles, the saints that live in Rome. That's in Romans chapter 1 and 7. So he's doubling down and said, I'm speaking to you Gentiles, you Israelites that live in Rome, who follow the ways of the Greeks, who speak Greek, who follow the ways of these Edomites. I'm speaking to the Gentiles. I'm talking to you. You're the ones reading this epistle. Although I'm speaking about the Jews who know that they're Jews, right now you're reading this and I'm speaking to you. That's what he's saying. These Gentiles are Israelites. And as much as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office. Now, how do you know that these are the Gentiles, right? This olive tree that we're reading about in Romans 11 has always and will always be likened unto Israel. Let's get that in Psalms chapter 52, right? This is Psalms chapter 52 and verse 8. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of God. I trust in the mercy of God forever and ever. So we're the lost sheep, we're the dove, we're the olive tree, right? We're the beloved of the Lord. There's no other nation that's called the green olive tree, right? That's who we are. Let's go to Jeremiah 11, not anybody else. David is an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. He said he's an olive tree. Let's get the classic, right? Jeremiah chapter 11. This is Jeremiah chapter 11 and verse 16. We know Jeremiah prophesied to Israel, right? The Lord called thy name a green olive tree. fair, and of goodly fruit. With the noise of a great tumult, he hath kindled fire upon it, and the branches of it are broken. So we're that green olive tree. So when you get to Romans 11, you already have that foundation that the olive tree are the children of Israel. Right? Let's read this again. For I speak to you Gentiles. Let's go into this word Gentiles in the Greek. Right? Ethnos. From now, there it is, ethnos. Now, it reads, let's jump on this. Here's the definition you want, right? A multitude of individuals of the same nature or genus. Now, the multitude of individuals are the Israelites of the same nature or genus because they go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. A tribe, a nation, a people group, right? It says in the Old Testament, foreign nations not worshiping the true God, pagans, Gentiles. Paul uses this term for Gentile Christians, meaning Israelites that believe in the Lord. All right. So these people of the same genus are the 12 tribes. That's who Paul is addressing. Now, when you read verse 14, it reads, if by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. So Paul wanted to provoke the Jews who didn't believe in Yahushua to emulation, right? He wanted them to be jealous and see that the Israelite foreigners are now being grafted in and adopted to the fold. See, one thing about the Jews is they always thought that since they were from Abraham's seed, that they would be okay, right? Now, the Lord told them, say not within yourselves that we have Abraham of our father. You know, when you go to I believe that's Matthew the 3rd chapter, right? Let's get that real quick. This is Matthew chapter 3 and 9. And think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. For I say unto you that the Most High is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. So they would boast that Abraham's their father and that they'd be all right and don't worry about it, don't have to listen. And now the Lord opened up the door for the Gentiles. So now they're like, hold on, we in Judea, us as the Jews, we come from Abraham's seed, we always kept the law. Why is the Lord dealing with the Israelites that are scattered abroad? Maybe something ain't right within ourselves. Maybe we need to get right. And that was Paul's intentions for them to have their heart pricked, to understand that, hey, look, you're not the only type of Israelite, man. Just because you live in Judea, you were circumcised the 8th day, you kept the Passover, you spoke the Hebrew, didn't make you the supreme Israelite. Once they began to see the Israelite foreigners get adopted into this truth, they would begin to be provoked and get pricked in their conscience to want to repent and get right with the Most High. All right? So like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on that. May do an entire breakdown on that. But those are Israelites in Romans 11. Yefei Israel. Being that our life in the kingdom will be eternal, do we live forever and never die, or do we just regenerate? We live forever and we never die. We're not going to die in the kingdom, right? You're not going to have a heart attack. You're not going to, pass away in your sleep and you wake up like, what happened to me in the spirit world? You're not going to die, right? How do you know that? This is 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse number 53. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So right now you have a mortal body, a body that can die. The Most High is going to give you an immortal body, a spiritual body. So when it's corruptible, shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. So death isn't going to get swallowed up in victory, and then he kind of sneak out the grave and, okay, I'm ready to kill a bunch of the sons of God again. Even though they overcame, even though they have glorified bodies, here I come again, watch out. No, death is swallowed up. It's over for death. Death is part of this life that we deal with. You know, and the Lord said in Revelation, the 22nd chapter, that there will be no more curse. You know, in Zechariah, the 14th chapter, the Lord said there will be no more utter destruction. So death is going to be swallowed up. Oh, death, where is thy sting? Oh, grave, where is thy victory? Here's the point. The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. So if sin brings forth death, and then the kingdom, you're going to have the laws in your inward parts, how are you going to be able to sin? Let me say that another way. If you have the laws in your inward parts in the kingdom, which is a stipulation of the new covenant, how are you going to sin if the laws are in your inward parts? Now, if you don't sin, that means you're not going to experience death. It's that plain. Only reason we die is because we sin. The grain of evil seed that was sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning. You know, the Most High is going to take that stony heart away from us and give us a heart of flesh, right? You're not going to have this evil seed in you in the kingdom. It's only up until the time of threshing. 2nd Ezra 4 and 30. For the grain of evil seed hath been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, meaning Adam was programmed to go off. And how much ungodliness hath it brought up unto this time, and how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing come? So when Yahweh returns and a harvest, and we're given immortal bodies, and we get the laws in our inward parts, we're not going to die. We only go through death until the time of threshing. All right? So we can move on. Okay, next question from Carmel. Christmas is near. What am I supposed to do when I live with my mother? She brought me a gift after I told her not to. Do I turn it down? If she forces me to eat the dinner, what do? I stay in my room all day. Right? So if so-called Christmas is there, you live with your mother, she bought you a gift. Do you turn it down? I mean, you can, right? You can say, like, I don't celebrate Christmas. You really want to, like I brought out earlier, what you really want to do is let it be known well in advance. I don't celebrate Christmas. Please don't give me any gifts. I appreciate it. I love you. Thank you. You know, something like that. However you want to go about it. If you didn't do that and they bring you gifts, or if you did do that and they still bring you gifts, you can say, look, I told you I don't celebrate Christmas. No, thank you. I appreciate the offer. I'll take the receipt. If you want, I'll take it back and give you back your money, whatever you want to say. You don't want to take Christmas gifts, right? Now, a brother may say, no, I'm going to take these Christmas gifts. Give me these gifts. Give me all the gifts. Ho, ho, ho. And brother take a bunch of gifts. I always encourage brothers not to take Christmas gifts. Don't take Christmas gifts. Because you take Christmas gifts, next thing you know, you're going to take them turkey Thanksgiving. They're going to drop off some Valentine's Day candy at your house, and they do not believe that you believe in is true. If you take that Christmas gift, they believe that you do not believe what you say you believe in. If you take that gift, and once you take that gift, you taking every damn thing from them. You taking everything from them, and you can't tell them nothing else because they're going to say, "Hold on, you celebrated Christmas with me. You was taking the gifts." Now you can say, no, I only took that because, I have to. You don't even want to leave any occasion for the adversary to speak reproachfully. So you're better off letting people know well in advance and denying those things. Every gift is not a gift to be taken, Now, if she forced you to eat dinner, you don't eat it. Look, I'm not eating dinner. Or I'm not eating Christmas dinner. No, thank you. You can say it respectfully. Hey, look, I ate already. I don't want to celebrate Christmas. I told you I'm not eating. Let her know now. I'm not eating Christmas dinner. I'll get this instead. I'm going to eat this, but I'm not celebrating Christmas. You really have to communicate and let that be known and be adamant about it, right? A lot of times, Jake, you find yourself in these jams because you're not assertive enough. You're not assertive enough about your stance and its truth. You can be respectful and assertive at the same time, right? This is Genesis chapter 14 and verse number 23. I'm going to start at 21. And the king of Sodom said unto Abram, give me the persons and take the goods to thyself. So this when Abraham returned after the slaughter of the kings, and he had all of this wealth. He gave 10% to Yahushua. Then he gave the rest to the king of Sodom. The king of Sodom said, I just want my Sodomites. You can have all of the gold, all of the women, all of the silver and apparel to yourself. Have all of these gifts. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hand unto Yahweh, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth. I made an oath that I will not take from a thread, even to a shoe latchet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldest say, I have made Abram rich. Abraham said, I'm not taking nothing from you. And Abraham could have took gold from this king, could have took silver from this king, but it's the spirit behind that. And Abraham knew that. See, some people, they'll give you gifts to corrupt you. They have ulterior motives. They'll hold it over on you. They'll say you celebrated Christmas. Abraham said, if I take a gift from this damn Sodomite king, I'm in his pocket, for lack of better terms. I owe him. He's always going to hold this up over me. Now I'm his servant instead of the servant of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. You know, lest thou shouldest say, I have made Abram rich. So all gifts are not good gifts, man. You know, and that's a wise move that Abram made. Let's go to the book of Ezra. Right? Let's go to Ezra. I believe that's what I want. This is Slakia. This is Ezra to find this account. I may get this in First Ezra. Let's see if I can get this account. When you read this account in First Ezra, you read about right? You read about Ezra, the scribe, the priest of the Most High, being sent down to do the work of the Lord, right? And I have to find this. All right, this is get this precept real quick. Right, Salakia. This is Ezra to find this account. Chapter 8 and verse 50. It reads, and there, First Ezra 8 and 50. And there I vowed a fast unto the young men before our Lord, to desire of him a prosperous journey, both for us and them that were with us, for our children and for our cattle. For I was ashamed to ask the king footmen and horsemen and conduct for safeguard against our adversaries. So I didn't want any gifts or no handouts. The king offered it, like he did Nehemiah. And there's nothing wrong with what Nehemiah did, but Ezra, his spirit, he said, I don't want no handouts from him. You know? For we said unto the king that the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, our God, should be with them that seek him and to support them in all their ways. So you receive your gifts and blessings from Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua. You don't need no demonic gifts from your mother or your father on Christmas. And again, if you take that Christmas gift, you'll take the second gift. It's going to put a spirit on you. You'll be there for New Year's. You'll have that 2025 hat on. You'll be blowing that damn celebration kazoo thing. You'll be eating some flats and some wings on New Year's. You'll be watching the ball drop. It's going to put a spirit on you. Right? It's going to put a spirit on you. We're going to move on. Shalom King. Is it adultery if she says she's single, but still communicates with her baby father? Right? Baby father, man. I'd be so glad when we out this damn captivity. I didn't hear the word baby father anymore. Baby daddy. It's not adultery. Right? Now, if you're dealing with this sister But you found, she told you, hey, look, when I was in the world, this, I did this. I got 2 sons. This is my baby father, X, Y, and Z. He pick up the kids every Thursday, or he get a kids McDonald's money, or whatever the case may be. I don't know, right? But you land down with this sister you're in. That's not adultery. It's adultery if she go back and she land down with her baby father, talking about, I just got to go over there. We need to talk. Or they always on the phone, and they meeting up, and she over his house all the time, and say, we're best friends, and he just picked me up. We're going out on a date, and she dropped you. He dropping your. That's madness, right? Or we just best friends. We just real close. We're very, very close, right? But you don't want my children to have a relationship, right? So then she over his house, and she come back to your crib at 3 a.m, and he drop her off in the damn Hellcat, So, brother, long story short, it's not adultery. It's only adultery. She's laying down with that man, right? So you want to be very wise, right? You want to be very, very wise in those matters, right? You want to be very wise in those matters. Shalom King, during the 5th seal, is it best to cut off contact with all non-believers? I would say it depends on the spirit, because the Most High, he could cause your enemies to entreat you well, and it's not something that's you're really going to have on your forefront, right? The Lord said in Jeremiah, I want to get this in Jeremiah, the 15th chapter, right? This is Jeremiah chapter 15 and verse 11. Yahweh said, verily it shall be well with thy remnant. Verily I will cause the enemy to entreat thee well in the time of evil and in the time of affliction. So the Lord can cause your enemy to entreat you well. Now, are you going out seeking your enemy during the time of the 5th seal, Jacob's trouble? No. Hey, but the Most High could put the spirit on your enemy to protect you, give you food and water, but that's not something that's really going to be on your mind. Now, obviously, you're not going to be looking to cleave and join to your enemy, but, the Most High can cause your enemy to entreat you well. Okay. If only the righteous are delivered from Jacob for life 45, who are those rebels that have to be weeded out in the second wilderness? Those are the people that were taken out, that rebelled against the terms of the second covenant, and those who rebelled against the authority of Yahweh, right? Those who those are. Just like you had Israel that was delivered during the time of Moses, and people that were purged out. You got Israelites that was purged, that's being purged out now. In the spiritual wilderness, where we're taken out of sin and taken out of darkness, and people are still falling out the truth to this day, that knew the knowledge of the Most High, that knew the commandments, and are still falling out, going back in the world, right? So with that, we're going to close up, giving, of course, our honor and glory to Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach, Kwame Like Yahushua. Most High willing, you are edified. Kwam Yasha. Shalom.